Hello, friends. Welcome to Authenticity the Hard Way podcast. I am your host, Asha Zalika, and I would like to first and foremost thank you for joining me on this episode. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to spend with me. You could be doing anything else and everything else, but you have chosen to listen to me today, and I thank you. I'm grateful. Secondly, if this is your first time here, thank you also. And a brief synopsis of what Authenticity the Hard Way is all about is experience. I have learned along this journey that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and the way that we grow, mature, and evolve into the next highest version of ourselves is through experiences. It is usually the hard ones that cause or create the most growth, the most transformation in us. Good experiences are good experiences. They give us the feel goods. They make us happy and all these things. However, and we experience those happiness, the joy of those experiences, whatever, so forth and so on. And then we just go on about our lives. But it's those hard experiences. It's those traumatic experiences. It's the dark places. It's the broken hearts. It's the confusion, the doubt in the midst of quote unquote harsh experiences that change us. And I use quote unquote because we as human beings label things. We label things good and bad. We label things positive and negative, where in actuality, in the whole divine scheme of life, everything just is. Everything just is. There's light and there's dark, and neither is good nor bad. It just is. But we have been conditioned to label things good or bad, positive, negative, high, low, and it helps us to get a mental grasp on stuff, and it gives us ways to live our lives, I guess you could say. But anyway, I think that's a whole different topic. But Authenticity the Hard Way is the first step of my overall grand passion and desire of helping people. My business that is coming along is called Revelations with the Z, Holistic Empowerment Training, and just helping people reach the highest version of themselves possible. This podcast is the first installment, I guess you could say, of my business. And I simply share my experiences with you in the hopes that from what I've experienced, it will encourage you, give you insights into certain things. Maybe you're going through the same thing. Maybe me sharing could help lighten your burden, lighten the load, help ease your heart, help give you the hope to know that even in the midst of it, you're going to be fine. I want to share the golden nuggets that I've received and the wisdom and the knowledge, the strength, the courage, the fortitude that these experiences have given me, I share with you, because we are all one. We're all united. Pain is pain. Heartache is heartache. Not one of us is immune to these things. But if just one takes the time to share, it'll change the course of mankind itself. That's what I believe. So I'm sharing my experiences with you to help you along your way. Today's episode is fresh. The experience happened just yesterday. However, as I was preparing to do this episode, I realized that in order for the fullness of yesterday's experience to come forth, I have to go back a few months to a pivotal, literal, life-altering experience. So this is February. This experience took place in October. So it's still kind of fresh, and honestly, I believe I'm still, at some level, I'm still evolving within that experience. I still feel the residue of the fear that took place during that. But nevertheless, I'm just going to go back and I'm going to start with that one. I am a caregiver that has transferred 3 years ago. I came out of in-home care and began giving care in the school system, in the classroom, as caregiver and class support, working with special needs children, in the special ed department. And this school year, the 24-25 school year, I was in the transitional part of special education, where I was working with young adults who had just graduated from high school and from 18 to 22 years old, transitioning from school into, it would be the adult day program. Totally different for me. I was more class support than I was actual caregiver. But what I experienced in there was traumatic. I don't feel led to go into detail. I don't believe, I'm not feeling like I should go into exact detail about what happened. But the things that I experienced, so from August, school started in August, to October, August, September, October, 2 months, 3 months, shook me to my core. There were behaviors by teachers towards these. Now, mind you, these students are physically disabled. They are mentally, emotionally, and mentally delayed in some way. They have some type of, whether it's Down syndrome, whatever, right? Special ed department. And they cannot defend themselves. I think that's the best word I could use. They cannot defend themselves. They cannot advocate for themselves. And so what I witnessed, for lack of any other better word, was abuse. Mental abuse, emotional abuse. Now, being that I work third party and I'm not a part of the school district, my presence there was on a different level. I think the best way to describe it was like an outsider being placed in somewhere to provide a service. In other words, as third party, we don't feel like we have a right to speak out upon anything. That is the overall tone of being a third party worker in the school district. We just go, we do our job, we go home, and that's it. And I get that, and I understand that. However, being who I am not that one to be quiet. And I got to the point where I had witnessed so much and had been involved with so much mistreatment of certain students that it began to weigh on me. It was in my dreams. Going to work hurt my heart. There were some times when on my break I would step out and literally have to hold myself. I'm getting emotional while speaking of it. There have been times when I came home and cried because of what I witnessed. All the while I'm saying, okay, I know I'm here for a specific reason. Nothing that comes into my life is by chance. It's not by accident. There are no coincidences. I am here for a reason. The final straw was a student being tormented by a teacher. He had a fear of something, and the teacher put it in his face and literally tormented him with it. And it broke me. And so I spoke. The bottom line is I voiced what I saw. I voiced what I heard. I voiced what I experienced. I made a big wave. So here's the timeline. For 3 weeks, I witnessed this abuse, these different things that were not conducive to the care and the growth of these young adults. And on that final experience day, I was about to explode, but I had enough wherewithal, my professionalism, that the first person in authority that I saw, his door was open, and I asked to speak with him. And he gave me his full attention, and I laid it out. Tears in my eyes, he's handing me the box of tissue, and I told him what I saw, what I experienced, how it made me feel, and he welcomed me. He heard what I had to say. He wrote things down. He took notes. He questioned me, as in the classroom, on the outings, he questioned me about the safety of the students and these different things. And one thing that he did was he said, I want you to understand that just because you are third party does not mean you are invaluable here. We need third party employees. And that gave me peace. And he reassured me. He said, I'm grateful and I thank you for coming in. This is not the first time that I heard of these things, but I'm glad that you came and spoke with me. So that was on a Wednesday of 1 week. That following, I want to say Monday or Tuesday, the Monday or Tuesday of the next week, the person that was over him for the first time the entire school year said hello to me, called me into their office and said, I heard about what you told my coworker. Can you tell me, wanted me to explain what I had said to him. So I did. I gave heard the same conversation, the same talk. She asked if I had spoken with the teacher, and I told her that I had planned to, but I had to give space for my emotions to calm, because as emotionally distraught as I was, for me to speak with that teacher would have only caused more problems. And I told her, as soon as I feel better, I'll address it. And she said, okay, that I understand that. Thank you very much for that. Well, 2 days after that, that teacher called me into the classroom and said, you have something you want to talk to me about? Imagine the surprise on my face. And I said, well, yeah. So I explained everything to her. And it was a good thing. That conversation was a good thing. I told her my concerns. She told me her concerns. She explained some stuff to me, of course, that I did not know about what she was going through and how she was trying to deal with certain things. So that conversation between she and I was great. And we agreed to be a support for one another, because I know certain things as a caregiver and dealing within our city that she did not know. So that conversation within itself was great. That was on a Friday. That following Monday, when I got to work, I was called into an office and told that I was being transferred. Boom. I was being transferred. The story was that somebody was coming back to take their position. Mind you, this is third party. That a district member was coming back. And that I was being transferred immediately so that I would have a position. No, that was traumatic. Let me tell you, that shook me. I left her office. I told, she was kind enough to say, you could finish out the day, but you will not be returning tomorrow. I called my recruiter. He knew nothing of it. He said, okay, Asha, let me dig into this further. I told my co-workers, and it hurt. Within 15 minutes of that conversation, the teacher pulled me into the classroom before the students came, and she said, I didn't know you wanted to leave. And I said, I didn't. This was not me. This was not me at all. She said, no, we had our conversation. Everything's fine. I didn't know that you felt this way. I said, this was not me. Understand, I did not request to be moved. So by the end of that day, it was hard. It was hard because in my face was the fact that, so the side note on that is that other third-party members, other third-party employees said, they weren't going to say anything because they didn't want to get in trouble. When I spoke to my recruiter and told him what I was going through, what I was experiencing, he told me, he said, Asha, we need you guys in the classroom. Write an email about everything. Send it to me. I'll forward it. This needs to get to district. And I did that. So I was the squeaky wheel, and I had to go. The next day, the school that they sent me to, so to make a long story short, I was sent to 2 different schools. The first one, now these are elementary students with severe, so we had moderate to severe behaviors in one classroom with kindergartners, or TK, kinder, first and second grade students, all in one class. The first school they sent me to, when I got there, they looked at me and said, "Oh no, that position's already been filled. I don't know why they would send you." But they allowed me to stay so that I can get paid. I could get my hours in. My recruiter said, hold on, I'm trying to work this out. I said, we're going to figure this out. The second day they sent me to an elementary school, same classroom setting, only these children were basically uncontrollable. And all of them were sick. Now, that age group, we cannot have them wearing masks. They would spend the majority of their day playing with the mask. I was there for 4 days, and I got sick. There was a fire, there was something going around. All the kids were coughing, sneezing, and then the Santa Ana winds kicked up out here, and we had dust and stuff flying all over the place, and I got sick. I got terribly sick. What I traced it back to was the teachers. So it was 2 teachers and 3 third party in one classroom to deal with all these behaviors and all these children. The teachers spray Lysol like, I can't even explain. They take what they call Lysol showers, like they spray each other down. The teacher sprayed the desk right in my face with one of the students I was working with, and he was just coughing every 5 minutes. He just would throw out this horrendous cough, and he wasn't covering his mouth. She came over, sprayed the Lysol. It went directly into my face. I did have a mask on, but it went directly into my face. I got sick to the point where 3 weeks in a row, I went back to urgent care. I went back to my doctor, actually, on a Saturday through urgent care. He looked at me. He gave me, there was no diagnosis. It presented as allergies, but not. So I had allergy medication. He gave me Claritin. He gave me Sudagest for the nose, nasal stuffiness. He gave me promethazine for the cough. He gave me inhaler, gave me antibiotics. 2 weeks worth of antibiotics, all this medication. I kept getting worse. The last time I saw the doctor, he said, you need to get out of that classroom. I can't tell you what you have. It's not COVID. It's not the flu. Continue taking the antibiotics. Get out of that classroom. I got so sick till I was laying on my bed one morning, and this cough was brutalizing my bronchioles, my lungs, my throat. It was horrible. I was laying on the bed. I couldn't breathe. My feet and toes, my toes and my fingernails were getting numb. I was trying to call my daughter in the next room. I couldn't catch a breath to call her. And I was laying on my bed, and my breathing kept getting shallower and shallower. And I thought to myself, if I die, so be it. I was at that point where if it was my time to go, I was fine with it. Being transferred like that and uprooted like I was hit my security, my root chakra, I guess, and everything. So that's just my work life. But I had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life with my family and finances and everything, all these different things. So at this moment, laying on this bed, I was ready to die. And I had a cough that brought tears to my eyes. And I heard God say, it's not time for you to go. you're not done yet. And this cough hit my chest and lifted my upper body up off the bed. And I coughed so hard till, my body felt like it was going to split. And I laid back down and I was able to call my daughter. And I said, I can't breathe. I need to go to the hospital. She was preparing to, get me up and go. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. If I go to the hospital, I might not make it. All these things crossed my mind. And I said, no, wait. And she said, you want to wait it out? And I said, yeah. And I laid here and I began saying affirmations. I began remembering who I am. I reminded myself that this is an experience, that there's something that I need out of this. And I began to speak health back into myself. I began to speak courage back into myself. I began to remind myself of who I am and why I'm here. And with each clarifying thought, I began to feel better. And I sat up. I took deep breaths. I drank a whole lot of water. And I got still. And I asked for direction. And I asked for understanding of why this had taken place. And God, the universe, whatever your terminology is, I'll use God for this. God spoke to me and reminded me that as a little girl, I didn't want to work. I wanted to be at home. I wanted to be a mother. I wanted to help people. When I turned 13, started bodybuilding, I wanted to have my own business. I didn't know what an entrepreneur was, but I knew that I wanted to have my own business. I wanted to have a place where I could help people physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. I wanted to be a helper, a caregiver. A few years ago, that entrepreneur spirit was revived within me. And when I was with my ex-husband 3 years ago, I wanted to start my business, Revelations. I ended up running away from my husband, came back to California, had to get a job to support me and my son. But that entrepreneur spirit just kept rising and rising and rising within me, and I started the podcast. And as I'm going back through these years and remembering my true purpose, my ultimate call, my ultimate passion was to not be a part of corporate America, but to have my own business. And then it came to me. That doctor was the second doctor who told me I needed to stop being a caregiver. And I did. I told my recruiter I couldn't come back. That if I came when I spoke with my recruiter after I was able to speak again from coughing so much, I told him I couldn't go back into the elementary classroom, and he said, well, Asha, we'll put you on back call because we're not going to have any high schools open up. And he said, how about this? He said, how about I just put you on back call? You get healthy again. You call me and we'll set you up for next year. Agreed. And I said to myself, that's it. I'm done. I'm not going back. I'm going to focus on Revelations. I'm going to focus on authenticity the hard way. I talked with my daughter. We talked about it. And she was like, Mom, you're at the age where you're supposed to be thinking moving into retirement. And here you are, trying to putting yourself in harm's way. And the other thing about that is that when I got sick, I brought it home to my granddaughter, who at the time was 6, 7, 8 months old. And she got sick. And friends, let me tell you, listening to my little baby girl coughing like that and in so much physical distress, it broke my heart. And I said, no, I can't go back. She does not deserve that. So I decided, nope, I'm not going back. I'll find another way to generate an income to help support my family and to help me get my business off the ground. And I said, ooh, Uber Eats. I ran in the room to my daughter. I was like, we can drive Uber. We can do Uber deliveries now. My oldest son blessed us with cars. That's a different story. So I came out of that, out of the school system, out of going every week to a job that was tearing down my health and preventing me from doing what I truly love, to making my own schedule and still providing a service. So I started Uber Eats, building my body back up. And that was in October. And I've been making strides, getting healthier. Not that I was, but I was, so that during that whole 2.5 year working in the school district, I noticed that me and my daughter kind of did some backtracking and realized that every 2 to 3 months I was getting sick, except for last year at this time. I started getting sick more often. It started as every 2 to 3 months, then was every 1.5 to 2 months, with that last sickness coming only 3 weeks after being sick the time before. And my body was telling me, okay, no, we've had enough. We have had enough. So that leads me to the experience that I had yesterday. And mind you, I am healthy. I don't have any pre-existing health conditions. I've lived a healthy lifestyle physically, with training for bodybuilding. So, yesterday, I woke up vibrant, full of energy, ready to have a beautiful day. Took my son to a doctor's appointment and got out of there. His collarbone is healing up nicely. He's doing great. Get in the car and I'm like, let's go do a couple of deliveries, just a couple hours of deliveries, and then we'll go home. It was like, cool. 3 hours in, it's warm. I think we maybe hit the 80s yesterday. It's warm. 3 hours in, I started feeling a shift in my body. I started recognizing that I was tired. Like this tiredness just washed over me. My thoughts kind of got foggy. And I just didn't feel right. Now, on one side of my mind, I have the achiever. I named this part of me the achiever. She's the Aries. She's the let's go, let's get it done, let's do more. Come on, let's do it. The performer. The achiever is saying, come on, no, let's do a few more deliveries and we'll go home. A few more. I think at this point I was at $40. I made $40. Let's try and hit $50. Right? Go. The other part of me, who I have been cultivating and leaning more into over the last 3 years, more so within the last 6 months, is the softer side. That is, I don't really have a name for her. She just is. She is the still part of me. The meditator, I guess you could say. The presence. The part of me that just wants to be present. Even in everyday life, just being grounded, being present, my more authentic self. I guess I'm naming her now. The more authentic part of me is saying, go home. It's time to go home. Do this last delivery. Let's go home. The last delivery I had it was 2 deliveries on the same order. And by the time I finished the last one, I was almost 40 minutes away from home. But I'm crashing. My body is slowly going down. I said, okay, I got to get home. I told my son, I was like, I don't feel good. I'm not feeling good at all. We got to go home. I'm on the freeway and I have a vision. I saw myself lying on the side of the freeway, motionless. And my 14-year-old son frantic on the phone, calling 911, trying to get help, calling my daughter, his sister, his brothers. Mom's in trouble. I don't know where we are. We need help. I'm driving down the freeway. I'm almost in tears. By the time I got home, I was sick. My head was foggy. Everything around me was super loud. My breathing was labored. I made something to eat. I had to come in my room, close the door, open the shades, let the sun shine in on me, and I'm struggling to eat. But I still had to take care of my granddaughter so my daughter could go out and drive, and my youngest son, the same mom, can come in here, spend time with me. So I was feeling myself separating from my body, like my body felt like this heavy, dirty mass of that's all I could explain it. I got on the couch. I got my granddaughter to sleep on the side of me, and I'm in and out of sleep trying to watch this program with my son on the TV, but I'm in and out of sleep, and it's like my body was fighting me. I couldn't stay awake. My daughter finally came home. I got up. I came into my room. I got in the bed. And I couldn't recognize myself. I fell asleep feeling like this little ball of existence surrounded by this great big mass of death. It felt like death. It felt like my body was just decaying. It was like 7:30 and I slept, but I knew I was sleeping, but there was a war. For lack of a better word, my body was in a war. I kept waking up. I was drenched with sweat. I changed my clothes. I had to flip my pillows over. At one point I got up. My son said, Mom, you got some food in there. I tried to eat. I couldn't eat. Went to the bathroom. Got back in the bed. And I woke up this morning. I was back to myself. My body, I still feel it lingering, but I'm 100% better. And as I sat in meditation, it was like a confrontation with myself. And my higher self is saying, there is no amount of money, there's no amount of achievement, there's no amount of production that is worth your health. No amount. What would have happened if you passed out behind the wheel? That question was like an arrow in my heart. What would have happened? Just because my blood test, when I got my blood test back, everything, all my levels are normal. I was pre-diabetic for some years, not pre-diabetic anymore. My cholesterol has been rising for years, but when I had my blood test done in September, got them back, no more high cholesterol. My cholesterol level is normal. Just because all of these levels are quote unquote normal, don't actually know what's going on within my body. And my body was telling me that it was time to stop, and I was pushing just to get another dollar. That is not living authentically. That is living conditioning. That is living out the conditioning of a lifetime of you have to make money, you have to get this dollar, you have to do this. The taskmaster, the slave master. Push, push, push. And my body is saying stop, stop, stop. Major paradigm shift. I don't know, maybe, our blood sugar levels can drop and we not be diabetic. That can happen. So that may have been what happened yesterday. And now that I think about it, on the days when I push myself to drive and I go over 5 hours out there, the same thing happens, but not to that degree. Because I don't drink a lot of water while I'm driving, because I don't want to have to go to the bathroom. I'm not eating because I'm trying to catch that next delivery. So there it is, Asha. This is a conversation I'm having with myself this morning. There it is. In order to become the next highest version of myself that I am seeking, I have to also honor my physical body. And when my body is saying it's time to stop, it's time to stop. Becoming a better person, becoming more authentic, tapping into our true selves cannot be done while trying to hold on to the conditioned mindset of the world. I made the decision to come out of that so that I could cultivate authenticity within myself. And I cannot bring the world's mindset of money, of what's the word I want? Status quo. I cannot bring that same mindset into this new arena. It doesn't work like that. And I'm pushing my body to gain $1. That doesn't even make sense. The experience of last night, of yesterday into last night, and that warfare, that's the only word I could use. During the night of this struggle has put me in this place right now where I understand. If I'm trusting God, if I'm trusting the universe to provide for me while I live out my calling and my purpose in this earthly realm, if I am trusting in the divine, I cannot have one foot in this trust and the other foot in the trust of the world, an economic system of the world. No, it doesn't work that way. Friends, in order to become our true, in order to evolve into our true selves, we have to give ourselves fully to that evolution, to that progression. And live in the trust that we have in the divine. I made the choice to come out of working a 9-to-5 to build my business, to build what God has given me. If you are working a job and you are happy with your job, you are being productive in your job is supporting you, then by all means, stay where you are. Keep doing that thing. But if you are in that place where your job is hurting you, it's draining you, it's killing you, get out of it. There are other avenues. Don't kill yourself in that job. There are so many people who get up every day and go to a job that they hate to put food on the table, to support their lifestyle. There is a better way. There is a safer way. There is a healthier way. There is a more productive way to do it. You just have to be bold enough to do it. But you can do it. Your life depends upon you doing it. I have heard so many stories about people getting master's degrees, bachelor's degrees, doctorate degrees in a job that they hate because society said this is what we need to do. No, honey, what we need to do is live. We are human beings, not human doings. I have learned what it means to be a being. Being alive, being aware, being awake, being present is what we are here to do. Oh my God, I could go on and on and on. But in my mind, and I hope I can put this into words for you. In my mind, there is a screen and it's split. And on one side, I see the smokestacks and the gray overtone of the industrial age where we were making machines and people were slaving at the machines trying to make these machines being machines. And on the other screen, I see crystal lakes. I see green pasture. I see the sunrise. I guess I see utopia in the sense of just walking through the grass, just being with nature, being present, laughing, enjoying family, being alive. And that's where we need to be. No amount of money is worth your soul, your peace of mind, your health. No amount. Yes, now that, okay, so I heard this right here. Yes, there is a type of grind. But that the word grind has become almost like a death sentence to me, what I'm feeling right now. Yes, there is a grind, like as an entrepreneur or as someone coming out of working for corporate America or a certain job. Maybe you don't want to work at the car dealership anymore. Maybe you are tired of that and you want something different. So yes, there is a grind. There is a forward momentum and push, so to speak, to move in that direction of something else. But that grind cannot kill you. There is a certain ease that has to be with that grind in order for it to be productive. Yes, it's hard work. Yes, there will be sleepless nights. Yes, there will be times when you're moving around so much trying to get things in place for the bigger picture. But you're going somewhere with that. You're producing that newness for yourself. But if you are at a job where you're showing up and you're miserable and you're grinding out 10, 12 hours a day and still coming home struggling to make your ends meet, and you're going to bed miserable and you're waking up miserable and you're miserable to your spouse, you're miserable to your children, they don't want to be around you anymore. It's like Groundhog's Day every single day. No. You are working yourself into an early grave. I hear Les Brown. Les Brown is a motivational speaker. Started listening to him years ago when I decided to make a change. When I decided to learn Asha and who I am. And he said, and he quoted someone else, and he said that the richest place in the world is the graveyard. Because in that graveyard are all the dreams, all the visions, all the creativity, all the music, all the art, all the fresh ideas are laying dead because the people who God gave them to. This is my part. Because all the people that God gave those visions and dreams and ideas to died doing something else that made them miserable. Don't do that. Don't be that person. Don't be that person. You have something unique within you, and we need it. The world needs it. Stop. This is what I see. When we work for other people, when we work in corporate America, we are making other people rich. We are fulfilling other people's goals and visions and dreams. How about you work yours? That art, that whatever cooking culinary gift that you have, we need that. That song, those songs that you've been writing, that you just kind of stick in your notebook or whatever have you, we need to hear that. We need your authentic presence in this world. All this all the things that are inside of me, my creative abilities, all of that inside of me would do the world no good if I was laying on the side of that freeway. No good at all. So please, be you. Cultivate you. The world needs it. You need it. Thank you for joining me on this episode. I feel so good. And I hope that sharing these two experiences with you will help you along your way. You are not going to get another body. Take care of the one you have. It is your vehicle. Our bodies are our vehicle in this earth. It's taking you, it's supposed to take you where you need to go. And an early grave is not where you need to go. Thank you for your time. Be good to yourself. Look up. Look up. And be that person you have been longing to be. Just do it. I'm here with you. Until next time. Take care.